This podcast is brought to you by Proton Dealership IT, experts in dealership cybersecurity and IT management. Interested in a free cybersecurity, compliance, or IT consultation? Visit protontex.com. That's PROTONTECHS.com.
Welcome to this weekend drive edition of Daily Drive for the first week of August 2025. I'm Kellen Walker in Las Vegas. We're breaking down some of the biggest stories in the auto industry from the past week and looking forward to what's in store in the days ahead. I'm joined by my automotive news colleague, Larry Vellequette, who covers Toyota and Subaru. Larry, welcome to the show.
Cal, it is always great to be here.
Sir, we got a lot to talk about. So, the U.S. and EU agree on a trade deal of 15%. Now, along with the EU trade deal, the U.S. has also made a trade deal with South Korea at 15%. How do you think automakers will respond to these deals, and who will most likely shoulder the costs?
So let's talk about tariffs for a minute, right? Because this is a relationship that it boggles my mind, Cal. The market is responding with these 15% deals like, oh, great. Well, it's all locked down now. 15%. I guess we can live with that. It's a little bruising on the arms and stuff, but, everything's hidden. So we can deal with that and we'll just pass that along. But having things locked down at 15% is at least a number that people can work with going forward. They say, okay, well, we'll just build that into the plan. We'll adjust prices. Ultimately, as with all tariffs, consumers are going to pay them. Companies are not going to pay them. Those costs are going to get paid on to the folks buying Toyotas and Volkswagen. Well, they're Europe, but the Japan deal too, right? Toyotas and Volkswagens and BMWs, that will show up in the sticker price. So consumers are going to buy it. But the thing about these deals is that they're not really deals, right? I don't think they are because as we've seen with Canada, and Mexico, even when you have a deal like USMCA, those terms can change any moment, apparently by whim or by, fiat, not to make a car pun. But if you make a deal and your deal is at 15%, and then something in the administration changes, or because President Trump decides one thing or another upsets him in your behavior, your 15% deal might suddenly be 30 until you change your behavior. So I don't know how the market celebrates a 15% deal as, okay, well, we're moving beyond this. It's still a beatdown for our trading partners.
Do you think this is like, as long as we're on our best behavior, we'll stay at 15%? But if we do something remotely that this man does not like, there is the potential that this can turn into 25, 30%, or gosh knows, even higher.
Right. And overnight, that could happen, right? Even if they announce a deal, there's nothing that stops him from turning it over again, turning the world over again. So I guess there's some assuredness if you're, on the receiving end of this. Okay, well, there's a number, I can deal with it, right? But I don't think that assuredness is there, really. I mean, I don't have any confidence that, okay, well, this is the end of it. We're all going to be at 15%, and this issue is just going to fade into the background, and we're going to move on to the next crisis. I don't have any feeling that that's going to happen. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? That's the thing. There's only one guy's brain running all this. So how do we know?
Do you think, because, Mexico got this extension of 90 days, right? Do we think at the end of the day, Mexico's just going to get 15% like everyone else? Because I'm seeing a recurring trend here.
Right? It's like somebody had a number in mind. And like,
right.
Oh, well, let's put 30 out there, and then we'll see. Everybody will sell for 15, and and we'll all be happy and go home. It's like, it's how is this different than a used car lot that marks a $30,000 car up to 50,000, and you come in and you say, I'm not going to pay a dime over 35, and they're like, all right, fine, you beat me up. We'll sell it to you for 35, and the car's only worth 30,000 to begin with, right?
Right.
This is no different. It's negotiations, and I mean, I understand the importance of why, if you're Mexico or you're Japan or the European Union, why you do these, right? I mean, you have to. The U.S. market is too big to ignore. You're not big enough on your own to, exert pressure, but
Right.
collectively they could. And there's one thing that has really shocked me about this whole deal, which is the trepidation that companies are showing with telling consumers this is why your prices are going up.
Right.
I mean, Volkswagen
Right.
did it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they got hammered for it, but it was the right call. I mean, how do you explain to your consumers, your customers, who, presumably you should be taking care of? Yeah, the cost of this car just went up $5,000 because of this policy that neither you nor I have any control over. But you're going to have to pay it because we have to pay it, and we're not here to lose money.
Do you think, Larry, because with South Korea, they have this $350 billion investment that they're going to be making into the United States. Do you think that even mattered? Because it seems like everyone was just going to get 15% anyway.
Here's what it is. It's a number that was probably going to get invested anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are not investments because of the tariffs. These
Right.
were investments.
Right.
But now President Trump can say, oh, well, this is happening because of me. Now, it was going to happen anyway, but because it was announced as part of this tariff deal, now he can take credit for it. The $550 billion from Japan, the $350 billion from Korea, those were going to happen anyway. But now he can say, oh, this is a successful policy because these nations are going to invest in the U.S. They were going to invest this money in the U.S. anyway. Hyundai was building that giant plant in Savannah way before Donald Trump was coming, right? That's included in there.
Right.
And those investments that companies like Hyundai Mobis and other Korean suppliers and automakers were going to do, that was going to happen anyway. So, but now politically, he can take credit for it because of the tariff deal.
Larry, we got so much more to talk about, and we just getting started, and I'm already sweating in my pits. Jeez Louise. Coming up, we'll talk more about some of the week's biggest news, including the recent sales results here in the U.S. That's next on Weekend Drive.
While you provide top-notch support to your team and customers every day, is anyone taking the time to ensure your sensitive data remains secure? Just one click on a malicious link can place your entire dealership in danger. In fact, the average cost of a data breach surpassed $4 million last year. Stay one step ahead by understanding the threats and minimizing your risk. Proton Dealership IT works around the clock to provide you with support 24/7, 365. Operating out of a cutting-edge security operations center located in the USA, Proton continuously monitors, detects, and responds to your potential network issues or cyber threats. You've got a lot on your plate. Keep your focus on where it matters most, your customers. We'll handle the cyber support. Learn more about our comprehensive services at protontex.com. That's PROTONTECHS.com.
Welcome back to Weekend Drive. I'm Kellen Walker with Larry Vellequette. So, Larry, some very, very interesting July sales gains. We got Ford, Hyundai, Kia, Genesis, Subaru, Honda, Toyota, and Mazda all reported robust U.S. sales gains. But are these gains as strong as they appear?
Well, so here's what happened. We are, of course, as our listeners know from, they listened to Daily Drive yesterday, the numbers that got posted today were from compared to July a year ago when, if you remember, we had that giant CDK outage. So we got numbers that are kind of misty because of that. Then we've got numbers that are a little misty because earlier in the year when all these tariffs started, people rushed into dealerships and were like buying everything that they could get, right? Because they wanted to avoid the price increases. So we pulled ahead a bunch of business. And then now we've got the budget bill that Congress passed and that Donald Trump signed that are ending EV subsidies September 30th. So you're starting to see a rush on EV sales. You're seeing consumers who are maybe on the fence that are going to back off, because I just looked this up. September 30th is a Tuesday. And on that Tuesday, there will be EV incentives in the market. And then on October 1st, which is a Wednesday, those $7,500 EV subsidies are gone. So if you can't sell that EV on your lot with $7,500 on Tuesday, how are you going to sell it without it on Wednesday?
Right.
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 So you're seeing consumers come in right now. And I think I saw an estimate in our sales story where EVs are supposed to hit 10% of the market, which would be an all-time high, I think, or over 10%, almost 11% of the U.S. market. And that's why you have people coming in, grabbing these deals before they're gone, before the free money from the government disappears. So you're seeing, to go back to our sales results, you're seeing some big numbers posted, but it's really, really difficult to figure out what these mean long term. One thing that I will say, in looking at the Toyota results and looking at the results from this, these are mostly Japanese automakers, Asian automakers, pardon me. Hybrids are doing very well, continue to do very well. And I think what you're seeing is, especially what's going on in Washington, you're seeing people say, you know what, I spend enough money on my vehicle, right? Especially with costs, with vehicle prices that have gone up. Mm-hmm. Why am I still giving so much money to oil companies? Even if it's a hybrid, who doesn't want to go? I mean, I've had hybrids now. I've had 3 straight hybrids. I'm not going back. Right. I mean, I like going in and getting 400 miles, 400 or 500 miles on a 10-gallon tank of gas.
Very hard to go back on tech at that point.
Very hard to go. Every time when I get a press car that'll be a truck or a big SUV, where maybe they don't really care so much of what the mileage is. They're more concerned with towing power and stuff. It is tough going to the gas station with one of those. after driving, my Maverick, and I'm going with a Tundra, and I'll be like, oh God, this hurts. Oh, this hurts. This hurts. Yeah. So, and I think that is a common thing that you're seeing among consumers. Consumers are starting to figure out, you know what, maybe I don't need this. It used to be that we're going to talk about future product in a minute, but Toyota ran a pretty interesting experiment with Camry, because Camry, obviously hugely popular forever, right? For years they had the hybrid option was $1,500. You buy the regular Camry, gas powered, perfectly fine, right? Buy the hybrid, $1,500 more, and your mileage went up substantially, right?
Right.
And people wanted the hybrid, demanded the hybrid, and started buying it. And Toyota finally said, you know what? There's no reason to make the regular one anymore. We'll just make them all hybrids. And now they're going to do the same thing with the RAV4. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. With these sales results, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, especially with the CDK outage last summer. But and you know where I'm going with this, Larry. Toyota does not miss. I don't think there's any fluke at all with CDK or people rushing to get things because of incentives. I just think Toyota just puts out this product that every month they kill it. They kill it. Because I don't at this point, for as long as I've been doing this, I don't expect anything less from Toyota. Like I told you this a couple weeks ago. I feel like they meet in Middle Earth once a month to control the entire auto market and tell people this is the direction that the auto market is going to go, because they just don't miss. They don't miss.
This is a Mike Myers skit, right? It's the 5 heads of the 5 global heads of the Pentaverate.
And guess what's going to happen? Hyundai Group is going to start meeting them down there next, because they're on their way. They're there with them. Toyota's like, hey, we're going to invite you guys to the barbecue. Like, come on down. So, Yeah, no, it's very interesting. Let's get into some future product pipeline stuff. Toyota, we know that they got a bunch of EVs on the way, Larry. But what else is coming down the pipeline from Toyota?
Well, so the RAV4 is the big one this year, right? You're
Mhm.
seeing you're going to see the all hybrid RAV4 that got shown in Dallas in the late spring,
Okay.
and then we're going to see that in dealerships later this year. It's a great look, for one of the top selling nameplates anywhere in the industry. If you just put it against the F-150, it outsells it. That doesn't outsell the whole F series, but it's a monster for them,
Yeah,
right? And
absolutely.
it is one of the franchise vehicles for them. But you talked about the coming EVs, so let's talk about those for a minute, because as we discussed a little earlier, Kel, it's so fascinating to me that a year ago I was writing about Public Citizen and some environmental groups criticizing Toyota for not going faster on EVs, right? Then we have the election, and now automakers across the board are canceling these EV programs.
Right.
I got to tell you, as somebody who just completed this future product project, which is always it's a pain in the butt every year. It is a we all go through it. It is a pain in the butt. I'm just glad I only got down to where I only had 1 week. A couple of years ago, I had 4 of the weeks. But what I will tell you is that product plans are being ripped up all over the place. EV programs are being canceled, and yet here's Toyota saying, "Nah, we're good. We're gonna continue with our plan," which is in their meetings in Middle Earth. That's how that's their secret, right? We
Right.
set a plan. It might take us 50 years to get there, but we're going to get there.
Mhm.
And we're going to make these incremental steps, and we're going to get there. While other automakers are pulling back, you're going to see Toyota come in with 2 new 3-row EVs. One of them is going to be a redone Highlander.
Okay.
That's going to get Highlander is going to move to an EV platform. Although I will tell you, it's moving from Indiana to Kentucky. But given the project, I just took a hard look at the new line down in Kentucky. Wouldn't surprise me if the gas powered hybrid and hybrid powered Highlander kind of continues for a little bit. They're going to have that flexibility. But right now, the plan is that Highlander is going to become an EV.
On that new automated line, right?
Yeah, right now that line is just building Camrys.
Got you. Okay.
But when these new products come into Kentucky, there's a possibility that the hybrid Highlander is going to continue. The reason that the Highlander is going to EV is that when they introduced, was that in 23, they introduced the Grand Highlander and its sister vehicle, the Lexus TX. For Toyota, the Grand Highlander immediately began taking buyers from the Highlander, cannibalizing them. But that's okay. It was doing that because it has a third row that doesn't require you to be a double amputee to use, as the Highlander does. It actually has a usable third row. It's big enough that it's usable. And so if you're a family and you come in, you don't want the minivan, which is crazy. I still think you should get the minivan. But but if you come in and you want a usable third row because you've got enough kids that you got to fill that up, the Grand Highlander makes that the Highlander just, it pales in comparison. And that's why it was eating its lunch. And it's okay that it eats its lunch because it's a more expensive product, more profitable product. You're also going to see Toyota, speaking of sticking with the plan, they're going to continue to have sedans. They're going to continue to get customers, entry-level customers, because, Toyota's secret sauce is not really a secret. It's that 60% of people, consumers that buy a Toyota, buy another one. And it's
Right.
the highest, it's the highest in the industry, which is crazy. All these other brands, they get, stripped away by
Right.
competition.
Right. Right. Well, Larry, some good stuff. I always appreciate you coming on. It's always a good time, sir.
All right. Thanks, Kelly. I appreciate it.
That's all for this weekend drive edition of Daily Drive. I'm Kellen Walker. Thanks to Automotive News executive producer Jake Neer for his help on today's podcast. You can get the latest news on product plans, earnings results, and everything happening in the auto industry at autonews.com. Come back on Monday for a conversation with Plus CEO David Liu about his autonomous vehicle company's decision to go public.
I think the overall industry is getting ready to make this product commercially available. So it's a perfect timing for us to go public.
We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think of the show and the topics we covered today. Send us an email at dailydrive@autonews.com or leave us a voicemail at 313-444-2774. If you enjoy the podcast, remember to like, leave a review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.